Like it or not, there's some big time changes coming for the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to talk about that, and we have a live Q&A for you. Y'all, welcome back to All Chiefed Up. Let's go, baby. It's Monday morning, December 15th. Well, I guess it's noon now. But let's talk some football, man. We're going to be talking a lot of stuff today about the Mahomes injury, what the outlook could be. We're going to talk about what the Chiefs are going to be doing going forward, a bunch of NFL news. But first, let's kick this thing off by shouting out DraftKings for sponsoring today's live stream.
Christmas is right around the corner and you've been in the giving spirit. So now it's time to give a little back to yourself. We've teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook to bring you an offer so that you can treat yourself this Christmas season by downloading the app today. DraftKings Sportsbook has all your favorite ways to bet touchdowns this NFL season. And now you can experience the game as a fan even further with dynamic odds that move with the game and more open live betting markets more often. So don't wait. Download the DraftKings app today. Get in on the action and sign up using our promo code ACU. With DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Download it. Use that promo code ACU, ladies and gentlemen. Real quick before we get started, just want to shout out Troy Terrell, new member. Welcome to the crew, baby. And then we also got Pops in the house with the 5 gifted memberships. Let's freaking go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the crew. Let's go, Mike. Let's talk a little bit about the NFL as a whole. What happened this weekend? Obviously, we know about the ACL tear from Patrick Mahomes. That's the biggest news. And, of course, the other biggest news is the Chiefs being eliminated from the playoffs. But we'll get to all that in a minute. But Micah Parsons also tore his ACL. From what I'm reading here, Mike, that's 2 massive NFL stars going down with an ACL tear in the same day.
That within hours of each other. Arguably, well, we know Mahomes is the GOAT, the best offensive threat in the league. Like, of course, Matt Nagy's put a hamper on that over the past few seasons, so people would argue it. But he is the best offensive player in the league. Micah Parsons could be argued as he's one of the premier top, maybe the best. I guess if you take out Myles Garrett, he's one of the few at the top. Pretty wild day for the NFL and for their stars because I don't think you want that. Like, it also, the Packers just traded off a bunch of stuff for that kid, and then you don't even get a full season out of him. So,
right,
it was a tough day for injuries.
Well, tough day for Chiefs fans, obviously, but I would argue that it might be even tougher for the Packers because they're still in contention here. They still have the playoffs in front of them, and they just lost their number 1 defensive player. So, I mean, that sucks. Moving on, Devontae Adams was injured as well, Mike. Had an injury issue and danger of missing next week. And then looks like the Ravens linebacker, Teddy Buchanan, tore his ACL as well. So, I mean, that's 3. And then I guess the biggest news, obviously, like I said, was Chiefs eliminated. The Bills stage an epic comeback. It looks like they were getting beat down by the Patriots like 21-0. Dave Portnoy goes live, talks a bunch of trash, and then, of course, the Bills come back and win. It's like, dude, he is his own worst enemy, isn't he? He just curses himself.
Can definitely curse things. I've seen him curse bets. I've seen him curse the Michigan Wolverines. He did it this year against Ohio State. He said that Ohio State never beats them. They come out and pounds them. So it's funny. So, yeah, Portnoy, I don't know. He should just stick to pizza, man. He's a pizza.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the greatest pizza reviewer, to be quite honest about
he's
it.
I don't know, man. He's wild. He's just one of those northeastern, Bostonians, I guess. Those wild and crazy Bostoners.
Yeah, Mike. Well, the Bears took the NFC North lead, which is wild with the Packers loss and the Bears win. They're now the number 2 seed in the NFC. Isn't it wild that the Bears are the number 2 seed in the NFC? I mean, I think last season we talked about how the Bears could be exciting in 3-4 years because of all the young talent they had acquired, but I wasn't expecting to see them do it this quick.
No, it's the Eric Bieniemy effect.
Yeah, dude.
He couldn't do it in
Gotta get him
college.
back.
UCLA kind of sucked, but as soon as he got back to his rightful spot as an RB coach, as something in the league on the offense, you've seen that team turn the tide there. So
Dang, is Eric Bieniemy the
might
good
be
luck
Eric Bieniemy.
charm? You
he
think
might be
so?
the little good luck charm, like the little guy you want to hang on your little Christmas tree every year and just rub his little cheek.
He's like a Christmas gnome or something.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
like
know.
he's the NFL gnome of offenses, I guess. He brings the magic.
Right. Well, the Colts had Phillip Rivers out there starting at 44 years old. Mike, he didn't do too bad. He looked like a 44-year-old out there, but they come up short, lost to the Seahawks, which is, it's a tough loss there. Seahawks
He did
are a
have
good
more
team.
touchdown passes than Mahomes did yesterday, which is kind of wild.
He still throws the ball all crazy, like he doesn't have any joints in his arm. It creeps me out. It always has.
That's why he can play so long.
Yeah, and then even though Devontae Adams got injured, the Rams had a big win. Looks like they beat the Lions in a high-scoring affair. And then the Jaguars exploded. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars dominated the Jets. So hard to do, 48-20. And they're 10-4 now. So looks like other stuff that went around the league, just been Jets fired defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes. And then, of course, I think some of the topics up for discussion lately have been like Puka Nakua's extension priority with the Rams, and then Joe Burrow, of course, sparking a little bit of controversy, talking about how he's not having any fun playing football in Cincinnati. But nothing crazy, man. But let's go ahead. We're going to get to the chat just real quick. We got Icoff with the 5 bomb. Says, low-key relieved that the Chiefs are out. Blessing in disguise to reset before Magic's gone. Let's lose out. Draft D-line, Hill, Patrick. Feliz Navidad. Well, not that
bringing up the
Feliz
Feliz.
Navidad. And then we got the 2 bomb from Can I Pet That Dog? Says keep Minshew, build defense and run game, and trade McDuffie. These are all things we're going to talk about, guys. Appreciate that. Thanks for the support. But yeah, we'll definitely get to, I guess, the silver linings of the Chiefs being eliminated from the playoffs, if you can find one of those. And then also we'll talk about some of this stuff here too, man. But appreciate you guys. Mike, let's start out just talking about the elephant in the room, Patrick Mahomes' injury. Not only are the Chiefs out this year, completely mathematically eliminated, no Chiefs in the playoffs. This is the first time since 2010 that you will not see Brady, Manning, or Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. That's a pretty wild stat, I thought.
That may be, God, I think you could probably go back further. It might be the first time since like maybe the late 90s where one of them wasn't in the playoffs.
If you added Ben Roethlisberger and there was one other one, if you added those two to the list, it went all the way back to the year 2000 almost, which is crazy.
It's pretty wild. Hey,
yeah, it's crazy.
But Josh Allen might have a shot this year. Yeah, he'll screw it
Buddy,
up.
they have handed him the keys to it.
Yeah.
They're walking him there. They might even have him in a wheelchair at this point. Just roll
For the
him in.
people that think the NFL's scripted, did the NFL have to do this to get Josh Allen a win? Are they finally doing what they had to do to get Josh Allen?
That was definitely in the script they wrote, yes.
Hallmark was like, we'll do a movie with him, but you got to make sure that your script is as good as our script.
Look, man, we'll put him in a movie, but you got to make sure he can't continue to suck in the playoffs.
If I was Mahomes, I wouldn't have signed off on this script last night. So that's the thing. Let's look at the outlook for Patrick Mahomes. I think that's what people want to know is what's the process here? How long is it going to take for him maybe to come back? What's he going to look like when he comes back, and when could that be? We're seeing a lot of people saying he's not going to play in 2026. My initial thoughts when it happened was, man, we're going to miss him for 2026. But when you sit down and you think about it, it doesn't, like, the advances of modern medicine have made this a recoverable injury very quickly than what you expect. Like, when we first started watching football all the way back in the 90s, if you ever had something like this, man, you were gone for a year. You might not have recovered properly. But nowadays, they're pretty quick with it. I wanted to bring this up. I seen this last night. We had Marty Jaramillo, a PT and a sports athletic trainer, conditioning coach. I wanted to bring up all of his stuff so you could say, he just wasn't some kook. He's had 30 years of clinical experience. He's been in sports medicine, rehab. He was an injury analyst on CBS Sports and formerly ESPN, blah, blah, blah. So he's got a lot of stuff. He's just not some random dude. He lives up in the Northeast.
He's credentialed.
He's credentialed. He lives up in the Northeast. Check out what he had to say, because I thought he had a lot to say that was good. I didn't see a lot of people sharing this out. I don't know if a lot of people don't watch CBS, but shout him out here. Let's see what he had to say.
So the average ACL rehab is approximately 6 to 8 months. He will miss OTA, which come around March, but he'll be actually almost jogging by OTAs, right? So I have zero concerns short term. He will have surgery within the next 48 hours. That's the best window to do that. And he will have no long-term concerns. I'll say that again for my Kansas City Chiefs fan all over the world. No long-term concerns. Why? Because it's Patrick Mahomes. The discipline, the work ethic, the IQ, what he does already for recovery. So I have no concerns there whatsoever. But tough news coming out of Kansas City.
Hey, I'll take that. I'll take that, right? I mean, that's great to hear, and I'm right there with that, dude. It's like this is Patrick Mahomes we're talking about. Like you kind of heard what Gardner Minshew said in the post-game press conference yesterday. Gardner Minshew's a journeyman. He's been around the league. He's been around a lot of quarterbacks. And what he said about Patrick Mahomes yesterday is very telling. Like he said he is the hardest worker he's ever been around. He's the best he's been around. He's always in there busting ass every day. And he's going to do what he's going to do to get back and be better than ever. And that coming from Minshew, somebody that just stepped into the team this year. He's not a Chiefs fan. He's not, you know what I'm saying? He just stepped into the team this year. And that was his honest outlook on Patrick Mahomes. That's the type of person he is, man. But I think that this timeline that he's kind of put out there, Mike, it kind of goes along with what's been going on in the league recently with quarterbacks that have suffered the same injury, right? Joe Burrow did this back in 2020. And actually, Joe Burrow took it a step further. I'm not sure. I think Mahomes' injury is an isolated ACL tear, I think. Joe Burrow had an ACL and MCL tear, and it took him 9.5 months to get back. That's incredible. Like, honestly.
Well, not to mention, once he come back, he still played at a pretty elite level.
Yeah, that's incredible. And then you had Daniel Jones. He had an isolated ACL tear. He missed 10 to 11 months. Tom Brady did this back in 2008, which we all know. He tore ACL and MCL. I think that was Bernard Pollard. He was out for a solid year, 12 months. Obviously, that's, back in 2008.
But what you're seeing is advances in modern medicine. You're seeing these guys also take care of their bodies a little bit better in the forefront. Now, look, that's a double-edged sword. I believe that Mahomes puts in so much work all the time, and he has been, that this does put wear and tear on your body. All these extra games they're given, all these extra OTAs, all this stuff, their bodies are not being able to recover properly. I think it's why you see a lot of these injuries a lot more. They seem more common. But I will say that comes with surgeries and the processes being more common. They know how to deal with this. We see nowadays that this is a way for you to almost become stronger. It seems as though your body can recover a little bit better. It seems as though it starts to heal your the body is a kinetic chain, right? So when you start having ankle injuries, it starts making your knees weak. It starts making your hips weak. It will work itself up.
Well, this dude was already out there with a bad knee. Let's not forget that.
That was another knee. So now you're favored one side. You're overworking that side for a full season, a full 2 seasons, however long it's been. He done that knee back, good Lord, it's been 4 or 5, 6 years ago. So he's always been doing that. You've had all these ankle things. You've had to, compensate. Your body is not dumb. It will compensate to keep itself from being in pain. And so subconsciously, he could have been doing things that could have been weakening this knee. And that's what they say. That's usually comes from being weak. Now, the thing is, this is going to strengthen it up. And a lot of times when you have ACL repair surgery, it actually makes it stronger than your original ACL. So they do say that you can come back stronger. You just about will come back stronger. And the thing is Mahomes is just here's another thing you got to look at. You seen Burrow get injured this year, have surgery, and come back before the year was over. Now, that's not what Mahomes just, suffered. This is 2 different injuries. But you still have certain guys, and we've seen it with Mahomes. Mahomes' body has been able to recover a lot quicker than a lot of people thought.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's his pain tolerance. I don't know if it's his genetics. I don't know what it is. It could be the trainers around him, the medical staff. Who knows? But the dude is relentless at getting over this. He's strong-willed, strong-minded. There is injury time for normal quarterbacks, and there is Mahomes injury time. And so I would not put it past him to be able to be running by OTAs in March. And by the time we draft and they start getting those guys in, I could see him start throwing and maybe building some light confidence with some of his receivers, maybe in May to June when he starts doing that Mahomes camp down in Texas that he likes to do every year.
Right.
You never know. They're going to ease him in, but I do think that him, Bobby Stroop, all those guys are going to make sure he comes back very, very ready to go. And I don't think there's going to be much of a step back for Mahomes.
Right. Well, I think the main thing that I took away from our dude talking about it just a minute ago was no long-term concerns. I think a lot of people are worried about Mahomes not being the same player, not being capable of doing this or that. Granted, there could be some mental effects to that, but I think physically in 2025, I don't think there's any long-term concerns. So I think that's very good news. Mike, I was asking, was the knee that he suffered this injury to, is that I know it's not the same knee as the kneecap incident from a while back.
Right.
But is that not the one that he was already hurt yesterday when he started the game?
It's very possible. I think. I'm not 100% for sure. He
had a brace on his knee on the sidelines. He was hobbling around, and then this happened. I'm hoping it wasn't just one of those situations where he shouldn't have been out there to begin with. But, that's the thing. And now that we've talked all through that, and we're going to get to you guys in the chat in just a second, and then we'll move on to this. But I think we have to start looking at why did the Chiefs get themselves in this position, and how did it get so dire that Patrick Mahomes is literally tearing an ACL trying to tie up a game against the Chargers in week 15. You know what I'm saying?
Fighting for your life.
Fighting for your life in the playoffs. So we're going to talk about how we got there and what the Chiefs are going to have to do to correct that and get back to where they need to be at, man. Because, this ain't it. This just ain't it. I know all you Chiefs fans out there not having a good time today. Damo with the 5 bomb says the fact that Chris Jones didn't know what game knocked us out just shows how bad coaching has been all year. This was my sentiment exactly, Damo. When Chris Jones didn't know that they were mathematically eliminated from the playoffs yesterday, I could have fell over. I'm like, that's how bad our coaches are, that our players don't even know what they're playing for. What are we doing?
I think, though, but he may have known that you had to win or be out, but the Chiefs statistically wasn't mathematically eliminated. You had to have games. They were playing.
Those
so if
were
they
done.
didn't see the
Done and
scores.
over.
Yeah, but they started at the same time. We all played the early slate.
They would have had a 0.2% chance regardless. It was over. You lost this game.
Well, yeah, it was over. But I will say that he may just not have known, that the Patriots lost. That
I think that you might be right about that, but I'm going to disagree with that because of his reaction to it. You could see that he was actually kind of upset.
He was completely lost. That he didn't understand.
I
anything
honestly
about the
think that this team was not prepped by anybody all year long about any urgency. And I think you saw that on the football field.
Well, maybe they just decided themselves not to do that. Because that adds some pressure. You just don't look. You just put your head down, grind, work, and win.
Sure, I feel like that's Andy Reid's approach, and I feel like that was a very shitty one this year. I think that laid-back approach is fine sometimes. This year, you needed a rocket up your ass and get some stuff done, and we were lackadaisical. We never had any intensity, and we literally just shit the bed all the way out of the playoffs. And then our quarterback's going to be out for 9 months, 10 months if we're lucky. I think that the overall coaching failure, and that's a sign of it, Dom.
I think you just got very dramatic on that. I don't think it's going to be 9 to 10 months. I think it's going to be closer to 6 to 7 to 8 or somewhere in that range.
Well, that's being hopeful, dude.
No, it's not. I think that's being Patrick Mahomes and his team around him. I think he's back.
I like the positivity.
I 100% think he's back by camp. Now, whether he's limited,
but you have to admit that's on the good side of this thing, right?
Possibly, yeah. But I think it's very, very possible. I would put at almost an 80% chance he's back by camp throwing and running the offense.
Let's hope so. Got our boy Sam Lofton in here with a 20 bomb. Says pay attention to these next 3 games. It's going to be extremely telling for the offensive philosophy. The Chiefs coaching staff are about to be exposed and show exactly how inept and behind the curve they really are. I think they're already exposed, Sam. I don't think any more exposing needs to be done. I think yesterday was a telltale sign. I think the last few weeks, obviously the season as a whole, but the last few weeks it's really showed. You've seen Rashee Rice out there getting his head knocked off because safeties know what play we're running. They know what route he's running. They know where we're going with the football before even Rashee Rice knew the ball was coming to him. Derwin James knew it. Same way last week with Petrie. Our plays are so predictable. It is pathetic. And Mike, we've talked about this time and time again, but we'll watch all 22 and the play calling itself is garbage, but the plays are garbage. It's like Andy Reid is supposed to be so great at drawing up plays, so great at scheming things. And every week we watch these games and you see receivers running dead end routes, We have no idea where that football is supposed to go when Mahomes snaps it. It's literally him trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat, and we don't even support that with a run game. It has been atrocious, just from top to bottom, and the offensive failures, I think, are just absolutely astronomical, and they've already been exposed. Sam, everybody in the league knows that this offense is garbage.
Yeah, well, I agree with Sam. I think like they may have always already been exposed, but I think these next 3 weeks is going to expose just how much Patrick Mahomes was putting a Band-Aid on everything. I think you're going to see. Now, look, they're going to be able to come out with Chiefs fans across the board. I don't know if they've adapted the Andy Reid thing, but I feel like this was going back way before Andy Reid. But they can always find a way to put some kind of a Homerish Chiefs spin on everything.
Right.
So, like,
yeah.
when we look bad,
That's
they're going to be
natural.
like, well, we've got more injuries over here. We've got injuries here. We got injuries here. I don't care. If everybody on this team was completely healthy and Patrick Mahomes didn't step on that field, you're getting probably smacked. Like, that's just the way it is. This team's just not built properly, and the coaches and the scheme just not looking right. So I'm with Sam. I do think these next 3 games, you're going to see how inept this offense is, like, actually is, because
Could
you
that
don't
go both
have-
ways, though?
You don't have the savior back there running around, and you know, let's just draw up these crappy plays all day long and have no running game. And
I think there's
no
also a
running
big
backs.
possibility. There's also a big possibility with a guy coming in as a backup, like Gardner Minshew, someone that will sling the football around. He does not care. He will throw the ball. He's not afraid of anything. I think there's a big possibility that you could see some good plays here and there everywhere, and you could see the Chiefs compete a little bit. Gardner Minshew was a starting quarterback in this league for the last 5 years. He's a backup now. Okay, so you can see the Chiefs compete. We're playing 2 really bad teams, one in the Titans, one in the Raiders. Right. So I think what you're going to see, more than what you guys think, where it's going to be exposed, I think you're going to see Gardner Minshew compete against these other teams. I think you're going to see big plays take place, and I think you're going to see all the Patrick Mahomes haters come out of the woodwork and be like, look, he's a system quarterback. Andy Reid's offense is fine. It's just a quarterback knows what he's doing now. Like, that's what's going to happen. Like, you can almost bank
possibly
on
look
that.
because the final 2 out of the final 3 games is against the Raiders and the Titans.
Exactly.
Okay, so yes, that may happen, but I think this is what Sam's saying and what I'm saying. If that does not happen, because it should, you've still got Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce, and you still got a decently good offensive line. Yes, Josh Simmons isn't playing, and yes, maybe Jawan Taylor might not be back next week, and maybe not Trey Smith, but this offensive line is serviceable. You're going to have the same running backs. There's nobody injured there. You pretty much got the same thing. Hollywood might be back. He should be back. So he's going to have everything. So if you can't compete, even with Gardner Minshew, like you said, he's been successful in the NFL, multiple places. If you can't come out and do anything versus these really bad teams, and God forbid you lose to these teams, then that exposes just how weak the system is.
Yeah, well, I think we obviously know it's stale. It's trying to get Andy Reid on the team. Hey, your offense is stale, and that's
so
the
either
tough,
way.
like that's the trick. That's like the tough part of this. How is Brett Veach and the Chiefs staff going to convince Andy Reid that hey, your offense sucks now? Like you need to update it. That's going to be a tough one, dude.
I think you laid out the thing of no matter what, you're just going to have Chiefs haters and people that are stupid.
Of course,
so you
and
can't
we'll talk
win.
about that in a minute. Dude. I
Either
want to talk
the
about that
offense
too.
stinks or we do well and Mahomes stinks. So either way, they're going to find a way to make this about the Chiefs and Patrick.
It's
Mahomes
a double-edged
and everything.
sword.
Yeah.
We'll talk about all that in a minute. I do want to give a little bit of a section of today's show to some of that stuff, even though it doesn't really,
Appreciate the 20, Sam.
Yeah, let's go, Sam. And then our girl Valerie here with the 10 bomb says Reid won't run the ball. Where'd that get us? No more excuses. Get a damn good run game and protect Patrick Mahomes. I think it's just about going back to the basics, Valerie. Like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce have covered up so much for this offense over the last 5 years, probably. And Mike kind of mentioned this on a live stream last night on the post game. I feel like this whole offense and Andy Reid and everything, they kind of started, revolving the entire offense around the Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce connection. Like we were kind of running through a tight end, and you kind of saw, after Tyreek was gone, like all the wide receiver play and everything drop dramatically and become less important. And I just feel like that, that time's passes, right? Father Time caught up to Kels, and he's not what he used to be. And then now what does Patrick do? And we tried to fill that void with Rashee Rice, but obviously Rashee Rice has had his woes. If it's not being suspended for doing something stupid, it's dropping the football. And we knew that. We knew that when he got drafted. The guy had an almost 9% drop rate in college. We knew that was a problem with him. So it's not all worked out. And I think the problem still goes right back to the coaching staff for me.
Yeah, I do too. I totally agree with what Valerie's saying. We need to run the ball and develop a running game.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works out. I think we're going to have to draft one. I don't know if we're going to pay one in the offseason. Like if you don't have them on that rookie contract. So they're going to have to convince somebody to take a shot early on a running back, whether it's round 2, round 3. And I think the Chiefs will do that. They tried it with Clyde. That was a massive failure, but that's because I think that they just kind of give up on how they were supposed to use Clyde. And I also think Clyde's injury there where he hurt himself, he lost his short area quickness and burst. Like that injury really cost him. I think it was a hip injury. I think they would have drafted Jahmyr Gibbs if he had fell to him that draft. I wholeheartedly believe they were going to take Jahmyr Gibbs. That was a Chiefs running back.
What did they take that year?
I'm not for sure, but
was that Felix?
I think so, and it was because the Detroit Lions jumped up and took Jahmyr Gibbs really early. If I'm not mistaken, he took him top 20 or something. It was really strange.
Oh, they did, but I feel like you should have got in those sweepstakes,
Right. So here's where I think the whole running game starts. You've seen yesterday. Pacheco, look, I like Pacheco. We all like Pacheco as a football player, what he brings to a team. But he's not a premier back in this league. Now, what I will say is he's serviceable. So if you can get him, if you could put it under center, if you can make his reads less complicated, which maybe a gap scheme would work better for him than a zone. But Andy them like to run the zone. So I was watching yesterday. There were certain runs.
I don't think he even understands the zone.
No, it's tough. It's tough. But there was a certain plays yesterday. I was watching him run, outside zone. When you run it to the strong side with the tight end, okay, it's a little different. You can kind of push it out to the edge. If it's run on the weak side away from the tight end, you've got to keep Pacheco tight. You don't want to try to get outside because you're not going to push a defensive end off the line as far as you're going to push a tight end. You got to stay inside. And there were several times I watched Caliendo initially help get to the second level. And what happened is he had a giant crease where he could have had huge gains. And instead, Pacheco was pushing it outside and then having to cut back and then cut back to the hole. It was taking too much time. He was getting stuffed. It killed the run game. And look, he's being taught that. You want to know why? Because you got Todd Pinkston, a wide receiver, as a running backs coach. Yeah. These guys are not prepared. Pacheco is a 7th round talent out of Rutgers. And we've give him Todd Pinkston for 2 years.
And then thrown him in as RB1.
Right,
like, here you go, bub.
About development. Like,
right.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not been a good look on this coaching staff. They've got to get better developing players. I don't think Andy Heck's done a great job. I don't think Pinkston's done a good job. Connor Embry's not done a good job. They've been serviceable. But I think they rely too much on Andy and his scheme, and they don't really teach these guys properly and teach them the little nuances of the position. And I think that's what hurts because Connor Embry hasn't really done a good job of teaching his own guys techniques to win in man coverage, how to stack and shed, how to do certain things in the route trees, how to sit down in his zone properly. There's certain things they don't know how to do. And these are 3- and 4-year wide receivers in the league like Rashee Rice. Xavier Worthy's now getting ready to go into his 3rd year. They can't find little things like how to sit down in the zone.
Right. Yet, here we are running RPO after RPO after RPO in zone blocking schemes.
It all comes back to the coaches.
It's dumb.
In my opinion, it does.
Yeah, appreciate you, Valerie. We got Perry with the 5. Says if we go 6 and 11, we end up with pick 9 or 10. Do you trade 22 for a 1 and 3? And the 1 needs to be for next year class so we can package the 2 1s for wide receiver Smith.
Perry's got a 10-year plan laid out.
Look, listen, Perry. I'm not that far yet, bub. I'm not. I'm just going to go out here and say this right now. I don't watch college football. Well, he did say you'll end up with a 9 or a 10. Right. And I don't watch college football. I couldn't even tell you who wide receiver Smith is. Okay?
I think it's the kid out of Ohio State, I'm pretty sure. Look,
if
they got Ohio State on their jersey, draft the wide receiver because they put out some dogs. You want to know why?
Yeah.
Because of their coach. Their wide receiver coach, Brian Hartline, is why they do it. That kid should be somewhere as a head coach. As a matter of fact, Kentucky had him on the short list, and they went with the kid from Oregon. So here's the thing. I'll focus on this one part in the middle. Do you trade Trent McDuffie for a 1 and a 3? So he's saying, would you trade him for a 1 and a 3, and then he's saying that don't get the one this year, get the one next year to be able to use. But you can still get a one this year and then trade it out and maybe pick up. You know what I mean? Like you can still put draft capital in the bank. Yes, I think what we've seen over the past 2 weeks, I love Trent McDuffie. I'd love to see him play here, but Trent McDuffie has outplayed. He's lived up to his billing. Trent McDuffie was a top 10 pick, maybe top 8. And somehow he fell to the 20s, okay? So we ended up with what you said, a pick 9 or a pick 10. That's what you're going to get again. And then guess what? 4 or 5 years down the road after the rookie contract, when that big money comes up, or maybe even after 3 or 4 years, he overproduces and he wants a bigger contract, the Chiefs are probably going to pawn him off. We're just a team that's built on the high end, the Mahomeses and your stars at the top, that you have to fill a lot of holes. And when you start drafting those big players like McDuffie in a premier position that gets paid, it's tough. And so McDuffie may have priced himself out of KC, but what you see is that Noah Williams and Jalen Watson. Jalen Watson's going to be cheaper than McDuffie. Those two can perform on the outside well enough to win games. Our defense has not been a problem for 2 weeks. It's
right,
not.
McDuffie could have totally been in the slot a lot of the year.
Right, so look,
like our
that proves
defense
to
could have
me-
looked totally. Could you imagine if we would have had Trent McDuffie playing the nickel instead of Chamori Connor?
Right,
like
throughout
how
the
much
whole year.
different that defense would have been.
And how about week 15, Noah Williams would have been a totally different player. He wouldn't have just been getting his second full game of snaps.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. I think what Trent McDuffie did is he got injured at a bad time for himself if he wants to stay in Kansas City, and a good time for Brett Veach because you can see that we can win without Trent McDuffie, and now you can go out and get those picks. Steve, will somebody give up a first-round pick for Trent McDuffie? And
Potentially.
A 3. Perry said a 3 as well.
I don't know about all that, but I think potentially you could. And the only reason I say that is how much some teams value corners. You've seen year after year teams getting way too horny over Jalen Ramsey. You've seen Sauce Gardner just get like 1 or 2 first-round picks traded for him. Trent McDuffie's a top 3 corner in the league statistically. He just is. He's a top 3 cover corner in football. A lot of people don't like him as well as the others because he's a little undersized. He's not as physical, but Trent McDuffie is maybe the best cover corner in football
Don't
as far
you
as
think,
just
though,
being in
that's why
someone's
maybe he
pocket.
don't get what Sauce Gardner gets? Because Sauce is a little different.
Well, look what Derek Stingley got. Okay, let's talk about that for
True.
a second. These other corners that you're not even mentioning in the top 3 are making killer money. So McDuffie is going to get a lot of attention from around the league, and I think that he's going to get traded. I think they have no choice. As much as that sucks because I love McDuffie, but
Well, if
it
you
just
put
is
him on
what
the
it is.
team, you're paying a crap load that you can't afford. Okay, you're doing it with limited draft picks as well because you only have 6 picks this year, and yes, they're closer to top 100s. You don't got like the 6th and the 7th, but you can't work the draft board to get the exact guys you want. And if you do, you're giving up more picks. And I guess Brett Veach can still mortgage the future. But you can't do that because at some point you're going to run out of picks, and then you're going to be in a bad situation. So I do think they have to get rid of McDuffie somehow. Sadly, you may get a team like the Patriots. They were like looking into getting corners, and now they're going to be on the back end. You know, they're going to have like pick 26 and back, depending on where they fall out in the playoffs.
The Colts.
I think you can
mean,
get that.
I know they just went for Sauce Gardner, but I mean, they're
think about
obviously
it, the Patriots or what if somebody like the Bills come calling? They're like, hey, we'll take Trent
they
McDuffie.
wanted him to begin with,
Right.
if you
so
remember.
maybe they say, look, we'll take Trent McDuffie and pair him up with Maxwell, and we'll give you a first-round pick. I think you play ball there.
Well, okay. Well, here's my thing, Mike. I'm not yet into the draft mode. Mentally, I'm just not there yet. So, you know, we'll get there. We'll get there. Appreciate you, Perry. Thanks for the 5. Another Perry, perhaps the same Perry with 2 different accounts, or 2 brothers named Perry.
Oh.
Maybe. I don't know. But appreciate the 10 bomb, brother. He says, do the Chiefs have a check down in the offense, or does Pat ignore it looking for the home run throw? Also, Pat needs to start throwing the ball away instead of taking a 6-yard loss. So let's talk about a couple things here. Patrick Mahomes, And this has kind of been a thing back and forth with us that we've talked about, Mike. Does Pat have a hot route? Does Pat take a check down? Is he always pressing too hard? And then on top of that, there were several times yesterday where I was yelling at my TV for him to throw the ball away. Just throw the ball away. So, I mean, I think Perry hit some really good points here. What do you think the deal is with Pat ignoring checkdowns? Do you think that's just because the offense isn't designed to have like a good check down? Or do you think that he just don't?
I think sometimes the play calling, if you watch it from all 22, I think there's too many guys sitting near the line of scrimmage a lot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But they're like completely blanketed, by the way.
But they're not hot. They're not hot routes. I don't know if Pat puts in hot routes or if hot routes are automatically within the tree and he doesn't have to specifically call it out or switch a route. Again, these are nuances of a playbook that a lot of people won't know unless you've lived the playbook, right? So, look, there were times I want to say versus the Texans last week, Pat could have hit, say, Kareem Hunt out of the backfield a few times, and instead he threw that pick up the left sideline. Now, that eventually was just an arm punt, right, because it was on third down, but it was a pick. I just think that what Pat does is he gets in hero mode. Pat's so used to trying to make something work, and he's just a competitor. Competitors they want the ball in their hand. They want to make the play. They're not scared of failure, and I think that sometimes bites Mahomes. A lot of people want that perfect thing, which is we want a guy that comes out and just does awesome. He's making the crazy throws. He's throwing it in the triple teams. He's putting them on lasers out there. He's throwing piss missiles, but yet. In certain times when it calls for that, we kind of watch a replay and we're like, well, there was a check down guy there. Why didn't he take it? So it's tough. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't think you can be in the mind frame of being that good across the board. I guess that's why people strive to be kind of like Tom Brady, because he seemed like he could always do that. But I will say Tom Brady was just kind of a throw to an open, quick receiver a lot as well. So
yeah, Tom Brady was thrown to a spot 9 out of 10 plays. And,
right.
and here's the thing, Mike.
So it very well could be scheme.
Can we just take it back 2 years? And the reason why I think it's more scheme than Patrick Mahomes is because Jerick McKinnon had a career year off of Pat Mahomes taking the check down.
Right. They called Mahomes a check down merchant. That's what we heard for like 3 years.
Right, dude. Here's the thing. Let's go ahead and jump into this real quick. Appreciate you, Perry. But a lot of the Mahomes haters are coming out in full force, right, to take their victory laps and to talk trash and to say just disgusting things about Patrick Mahomes for no reason. But I think the main one that I want to discuss for just a couple seconds, and we'll get to the next super chat. But Patrick Mahomes has made Andy Reid, not the other way around. And I think that that's something that people need to realize, because there's a couple narratives out there. First of all, the big one, the one that everybody knows is just complete hot garbage, is that the Chiefs get all the calls. They've been babied by the refs. And now the refs suddenly decided they're not babying the Chiefs, or the Chiefs are not good. And then I actually saw a guy that said that the Chiefs not getting called for penalties yesterday, or I'm sorry, the Chargers not getting called for penalties against the Chiefs was because the Chiefs don't get favor from the refs anymore. Okay, so first of all, the Chiefs just getting calls that should be called, like those pass interference calls yesterday, or the fact that they didn't catch either of those balls on their scoring drive, that's not the Chiefs getting favor. That's the refs calling a fair football game. Okay, so that's two different things. But let's move along to the Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes thing. And Patrick Mahomes is the system quarterback, and now he's done. Andy Reid was a coach for a hell of a long time before Patrick Mahomes was around, Mike. And Andy Reid had 0 rings to show for it.
He had some good quarterbacks too.
Yeah. He was there. He played in the Super Bowl. Like Andy Reid, his career was kind of solidified and made by Patrick Mahomes. It's not the other way around. And I just think a lot of people, I know if you're watching and you're a Chiefs hater, you're a Mahomes hater, you're not going to want to hear this and that you're going to argue it. But that's the truth. Like, Patrick Mahomes made Andy Reid, not the other way around. Now, did they help each other simultaneously? Absolutely. Andy Reid had a part in all of it. But Andy Reid never got the job done without Mahomes. And the only other thing I want to bring up is Mahomes can never be in the GOAT debate anymore. Tom Brady's obviously better than him because this season. and now he's hurt. So we all know the comparisons. Tom Brady went to 3 Super Bowls. He won 3 Super Bowls, and then had his ACL tear in his 9th year. The exact same thing as Mahomes has done. And to all the people that want to argue that he shouldn't be in the conversation with, Patrick Mahomes has started 8 seasons in the NFL, so that's all we can go by. I'll wait around all year for you to tell me any quarterback, including Tom Brady, who beats Patrick Mahomes at any stat in his first 8 years starting, and then we'll talk from there. But until then, keep your bullshit to yourselves. We're tired.
There's none, and to add to that, Patrick Mahomes has been to more Super Bowls than Brady, right?
Yes, he's been to 5.
He's lost a few that Brady didn't get to even lose.
Correct.
And we know that Brady could lose a Super Bowl. He did it to the Giants.
And you know, if you want to take it a step further, the Chiefs had the New England Patriots beat in 2018
with Mahomes,
but they called like 4 egregious penalties on us and gave them the game and didn't even count Edelman not like touching the ball. Like they handed them. So that's one ring Brady got that could have been Mahomes there.
And that was Mahomes beating Brady. You know what I'm saying? That was Mahomes beating Brady in the playoffs. That goes against him now. So, look, it's all stupid. It's the whole MJ versus LeBron debate. It's 2 different eras in a way. Yes, we caught Patrick Mahomes at the beginning and Brady at the end. It is what it is. There was a few things. Like, he's never going to be able to beat Brady head up. He's never going to have the opportunity to do that. But I don't think you have to do that to be considered the GOAT. I'm with you. I think on the same way, and at the end of it, it doesn't matter. There may not be people that ever say that Mahomes is the GOAT. There's people right now who say Brady's not the GOAT. I've heard people say Joe Montana's the GOAT. So, I mean, that's all just some kind of stupid internal debate between sports fans. And we already know that 90% of sports fans are homers and idiots, and they don't really know what they're talking about anyway. So, I think it's all dumb.
Joe Montana missed the playoffs 5 times, brother.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just doesn't matter.
I know.
I think Patrick Mahomes already has Montana's career numbers beat through 8 seasons or something.
Brother, I'm telling you, Mahomes trounces everybody. And then you had the one Chargers fan that chimed in and said, well, if you go by the first 4 years, Justin Herbert's the GOAT. And I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Because you tried to include the year that Patrick Mahomes didn't play. And because if you go by his first 4 years starting, he still beats Herbert in every category. Right. And also, Justin Herbert's never even sniffed a Super Bowl. What are we talking about here? Shut up.
Got to the playoffs?
Like, this is how stupid.
First time, yeah.
Like, and I expect this kind of dumb argument from people that also say, well, the Chiefs just won because of the referees. Patrick Mahomes only went to 7 straight AFC championship games, 5 Super Bowls in 6 years, and won 3 of those bad boys because of refs and bad calls. Suck it. You're just wrong. It's okay to be wrong sometimes, and you're wrong this time.
What I kind of know is if all this is a thing, then that means the whole league had to be in on this.
Yeah, the whole league. Which means the team that they're so mad about, losing, that they hate Patrick Mahomes, said, okay, we're going to do this. You know what I'm saying?
So,
like, what are you all mad about?
Owners had to be involved. I've always wondered this, too. Yeah. So owners had to be involved. Everybody had to be involved. Do you know that the Green Bay Packers are owned by the fans? They actually have fans that are owners. Did those specific fans get a letter from the NFL saying, is it cool if we rig it for Mahomes for 7 years? Yeah. I want to know. Bring some of those fans forward and see if they got the letter in the mail and if they signed off on it.
Yeah, but I don't want to spend any more time on that, guys, but just wanted to give you a little bit of ammunition for all the idiots that you're going to encounter. I would suggest just blocking them and not giving them your energy.
It's kind of dumb.
That's kind of where I'm at with it, but just close an argument anytime you want. All you have to say is, in the first 8 years of their career, give me one quarterback that beats Patrick Mahomes in any stats that matter. And I'm talking yardage, touchdowns, interceptions, Super Bowls, Super Bowl appearances. Mahomes is head and shoulders the best to ever do it in 8 years. So absolutely, we can call him the GOAT if we want to. Anyway, back to this. Tiger Atlas with the 10 bomb says it seems unlikely PM will play next year. Trade McDuffie and CJ for
no.
What?
Ramastamo, our boy. That's Tiger Atlas, right?
I can't even read it. He gets hammered with the autocorrect.
He's just saying let's build for 2027 because 2026.
Mahomes
is 100% playing next year.
Yeah, he'll play.
I don't think Mahomes even misses a game. I'm 100%. I think he's back ready to go by camp.
I love it, dude. I love the follow up with another 10 bomb just to be like, good Lord, my auto. And I was just talking
CJ
about
and McDuffie to start the rebuild.
No,
Look, I'm on board with maybe the trade McDuffie thing. I don't think CJ's going anywhere.
I don't think you can. I don't think that's smart. I think you keep CJ there.
I think if you trade CJ, you've just created another hole that you're not prepared to fill.
Yeah, dude, we already have a hole with him there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And so McDuffie, you can trade McDuffie, but what you've seen is you had a trial run with McDuffie. You've had 2 weeks of playoff teams, and you've seen Noah Williams and Jalen Watson be pretty good. So now if you just keep building there, except the fact that you got fleeced on Christian Fulton and maybe just get rid of him, unless he can come back healthy. Maybe he was just bad all year and his health couldn't get together. If you want to give him one more run to see if his health's good, and if not, trade him by the deadline next year, maybe. But here's what I'll say. You got to keep building the corner room. We know Dave Merritt can build corners pretty well. We have seen that. Now, look, they fell off late in their careers. Najee Johnson, Josh Williams, Nick Jones, Kamal Hadden. He's had some misses in there, but he's had some hits too. And so I would almost just focus on the corner room, leave CJ together, and that gives you one less hole to fill. And CJ's a mighty big hole.
Yeah.
That's a monstrous hole.
can't
That's a
fill
Hall
that.
of Fame,
You
one
can't
of a
fill
kind kind of hole to fill. And so I just want to add on. I want to make Chris Jones's life easier when he's starting to age. And let's help somebody battle Father Time.
I
with him.
absolutely think that you're going to go to CJ, though, and see if you can restructure that contract a little bit.
Yes, that is now you can talk about restructuring a contract. I'm with that.
Yeah. I appreciate the 20.
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother.
Ramasamo. You're the man. We got Chief KT in the house with a 2. Says if we don't have Mahomes, Andy would have been fired. Absolutely.
That have never got over the hump with
No.
Alex Smith. Love Alex Smith, but they would never get over the hump.
No. And, I mean, you all saw what happened to Alex Smith in Washington. I mean, he
Look,
didn't
he
even play that
couldn't get
much
over the
longer.
hump with Donovan McNabb. He couldn't get over the hump with Michael Vick. Those
Right.
were all like elite
And let's be honest
quarterbacks
here.
in their
If they
day.
didn't take Patrick Mahomes when they did and they wanted a quarterback, you would have ended up with Wacker. So, I mean, he would have absolutely got
Watson.
fired because he would have been out there, perving on everybody in Kansas City at all the little shacks, you know?
He'd been perving up and down Wyandotte. Like, we can't have that. He'd have been on the Paseo over there just passeing. And
Can't have it.
I don't know what you're doing over there, but get it together, buddy.
Got a 5 bomb from Brother Rick. Says, what's your wish list for 2026? I like it. Man, honestly, I just want to see Patrick Mahomes back healthy. That's the main thing and the only thing that really matters. Other than that, which this kind of bleeds into the next talking point. So I appreciate the 5, but I just want to take a second before we get to that, Rick, and just shout out Zarda for sponsoring today's live stream as well. Do yourself a favor, get over to Zarda if you're in the Blue Springs or Lenexa area. Grab yourself the $11 lunch, baby. Go get it. They have some great food. Sauces are top notch, very underrated. Get your ass over there. Get you some food. Get that Casey takeaway. Ashton Gelati, our boy here, has a sandwich, and it's delicious. And he also had a game. Even though it was a bad game and bad things happened, I thought Ashton Gelati kind of shined in the darkness.
First NFL
there.
interception. How about that?
Yeah, but get over to Zarda, man. Good people, good food. They're legendary. Go check it out. But yeah, Rick, so 2026, and I kind of wanted to bleed this into the next talking point anyway, Mike. Real quick, guys, actually, if you guys could hit the like button for us real quick, that would be amazing. There's 560 of you guys in here right now on a
Monday,
daytime
that's
stream.
pretty nice. After a playoff elimination, people showing up to support ACU today.
Yeah, man. Oh, I think it's Chiefs fans in general. Chiefs fans. I think it was Rico, our boy Rico, in the chat early on, was just like, you're going to see the real Chiefs fans in the next few weeks, and that's a true statement. So, yeah, we appreciate you being here. Hit that like button for us. Share us with your friends. All that fun stuff, man. But we appreciate you being here. So moving on to that next one. What do we got to do? What do the Chiefs got to do to, I guess, overcome all the obstacles that came our way this year? We saw the offense completely just shit out. It's done. This offensive scheme, this offense that Andy Reid has, he might as well take that playbook and pee on it, throw it in a fire. Like, it's over. Like, you're not going to win any games with that offense. The other teams know you. You're predictable. Like, things have to happen. But first on my wish list, Rick, I want to fire everyone on the offensive coaching staff that you possibly can and be able to replace. like without being a detriment. I would just start at Matt Nagy, buy Matt, Joe Blameyer, see you later. If you're scared to game plan for Patrick Mahomes, get your ass to the New York Jets and game plan for somebody over
there. Go back to college if you're scared. Go back to high school.
Right.
Coach there.
Andy Heck, you haven't done shit with our offensive line. We've just, but we are better now, but it wasn't any of you developing. We've seen that. Connor Embry, you suck. I'm sorry. Our receivers just suck, and we have to pin that on you. Mike, like you said, we have a freaking wide receiver as a running back coach. Hit the bricks.
Get them out.
All of them need to go. Take that whole offensive coaching staff and give them their pink slips. That's my wish list.
I think I may go ahead and do the tight end coach as well. What have they developed? What have they done? They've lived off Travis Kelce.
Yeah. The fact that there's a tight end coach is funny to me.
I think you've got to start looking down the board.
But fire that guy too.
Look, you've got to look down the board at everything. And first and foremost, I think you got to look at these 3 games coming up. I think this is a blessing in disguise for the Chiefs. I really do. I think we can get a real world look evaluation for 3 straight weeks of who's coming in, who's still going to go out there and ball out, who's going to play for their life, who's going to do the dirty work, who's going to stay and watch the film when it doesn't count, when you don't have a chance to go play playoff football and get all the rings and the recognition. Who's going to come in there and work like a dog? Who's going to be the first one in and the last one out? Those are your football players that have the fire inside of them, because I felt like a lot of these guys this year didn't have that fire. There was no want anymore. They had lost that motivation. So I think this is also going to spark players like Chris Jones, who said success is borrowed. Now you know. All the people out there that think we save plays for the playoffs, you guys now understand that it's not a guarantee that you're always going to win these little games, even versus the Panthers and play,
Right.
And now look at the Panthers. They're actually decent, but we could barely beat them last year. There were so many that the Chiefs have got to change mentally across the board. That's from the fans to the front office. Like, we've all got to start being real. And so I think that these 3 games, to get some evaluation in and see what players are going to play, I think you can get a look at Elijah Mitchell. Let's get a look at Dameon Pierce. Bring up Carson Steele. Let's get another look at him. See if he's progressed any. Because why are we holding a practice squad spot
Get
with him?
that fullback out there, baby.
Yeah, let's experiment with maybe putting people at fullback. Let's go back a little bit old school Andy Reid and get a little fullback H-back going. Let's see what Jared Wiley could do finally.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, I want to add Dave Tobe to my list, by the way. Fire Dave Tobe.
Put Dave Tobe on it. I don't care. But let's see what these guys can do. Let's let Jalen Royals play for a few days. Give him a couple games. See what he can do.
Yeah, brother. Dude, our boy Sam says, I sent you guys a list of 18 out of 30 coaches that they need to get rid of.
Damn, Sam.
Hey, man.
He's
I'm
brutal.
okay with it.
Hey, look, that seems like a big number, but I bet if I go through there and look, I'm probably right with them or more. Look, I think the Chiefs just have to get some new blood. It's that thing where you just got a little too comfortable. Your guys have lost a little bit of fire. Let's get it back. We've got too many guys on this team that's been eating at the table with all the finest meats and cheeses. Let's get back in the closet a little bit and find some of those people with some fire in their bellies. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think you definitely have to get that intensity back. You have to get that hunger back in the Chiefs organization. We missed it this year. Absolutely.
Look, how's Andy Reid not finding the hungriest people he can find? Like, this guy's a pro at that. Let's get it together.
He's always hungry.
I would be going out and finding guys that want to eat. Let's go get it.
Look, brother, what it all boils down to is this entire season, it's been a shit show. I mean, it just has. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. The team has not played well. I mean, just everything from top to bottom. And all of that. You have to take all of that in a nutshell here, and you have to lay that at Andy Reid's feet, because this is his team. Andy Reid failed this team miserably. He failed Patrick Mahomes to the point to where he was out there trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat and tore his ACL. He failed his entire team. He failed Patrick Mahomes, who made him a Super Bowl champion. Andy's got a lot of reflecting to do. Andy's always been stubborn. Andy's always been very chill. But I think this is a turning point for Andy. I said in the live stream yesterday, Mike, that Andy is officially on the hot seat. And a lot of people didn't like that. Oh, you're an idiot. Andy Reid won all these Super Bowls. He's been great. He's on the hot seat. I explicitly said They will not fire him this offseason. They're not going to fire him for one bad season. But Andy is on the hot seat. The reason why I say that is because Andy's got one more chance to get it right. If he goes out next year and does the same shit, do you really think he's going to be here after that? Because he's not going to be. Like, he is on the hot seat officially. Like, he's got to do it this coming year. And the only way that he's going to do it is to, have some self-awareness, which is something he's lacked throughout his career.
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, you're fired. Being on the hot seat just means, look, pick it up. Like, we're watching.
You're on thin ice, brother. You better do something. We got a 2-bomb from Jacqueline. Says, shout out to my favorite Chiefs podcast, ACU. Let's go,
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Appreciate you. Thanks for the gas. We needed some gas after this weekend. We're all worn out. We got Perry with a 2-bomb. Says, do you shut Worthy down and send him for surgery? Well, I mean, yeah, he has to have that surgery on his shoulder, right? Like that was pushed off till the end of the year. I think you go ahead and get it. What's it going to matter?
I think that's got to be with his consent. Well, there's got to be things, right? Because some of these players will want to keep. If he doesn't have none of that lined up, then maybe they say, look, let's just get a jump on next year. Let's not hurt it. Let's not do something different. He may just go ahead and like that. For all we know, he's playing through immense pain week in and week out. Like, we don't know how he feels. So he may jump at that opportunity. But I like it if he's with it. I think we get healthy and just start focusing on next season. Yeah. And that includes with everything in the front office. If you're going to start firing people and stuff, start, heads roll. Let's get it going.
Yeah. One other thing I want to bring up real quick, Mike. A lot of the fan base is talking about how bad Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice are, which is wild to me. I think that they've both showed you at separate times how good of receivers they can be. And I think that's the coach's job to get them to play at that level one way or another, whether it's the scheme or just get them motivated to do what they do. But they've both shown that they can be very good receivers in the league. So I think dogging on the talent this year is kind of a misfire for me. I feel like there was plenty of talent there. I think it's fairly obvious to me that there's a coaching issue. There's a scheme issue.
100%. He's playing through tons of injuries. He's done it since the very beginning, week one. Rashee Rice is coming off of a major knee injury this year. And, I mean, he does a lot more cutting and things than, like, you're going to see from Mahomes. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, that's fine. But you've got all this. Rashee Rice has had drop problems. Like, we knew this when we drafted him. Out of SMU, he had a 10% drop rate. We talked about this. We said that was one of his major knocks, is that he could possibly drop a ball. So,
I'll tell you this, too. The coaches set him up to where every safety in the league knew when he was running this route. They were taking his head off. What do you expect?
Don't go after him like Kadarius Toney and put it in his head. Don't do it what you did with Sky Moore and get it in his head and cause him to not be able to be effective here. Support people and stop tearing them down all the time because they had one or two bad games. Like Steve said, there were plenty of times Mahomes is throwing hospital balls sometimes because it's not Mahomes. It's just the fact that the whole entire scheme sucks. They're not learning how to get open. They're not learning how to do things properly. That's because of the Connor.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Super Bowl with the same guys last year. So it's not a big deal. I think people's just got to chill with that one.
Yeah, for sure. Mike, we got a 5-bomb from Daniel here. He says they can make some moves to free cap. I hope Veach, Andy, Spags realize their mistakes and fix the mess. They need to sign an elite running back or draft one. That's the number one thing going on Chiefs Twitter, Chiefs YouTube, you name it. Chiefs fans everywhere are all in on getting some kind of elite running back. And, I think that we definitely do have to step up the running back game there. Like, we've been trying to use 7th round running backs for too long.
Pacheco's not him.
Right. So I'm with you guys. But also, I don't think any running back in the league would have succeeded in this scheme this year. So I think that it starts more from the offensive scheme, got that coaching staff, getting something fresh going. And then, yeah, absolutely, we have to have some kind of a good running back. But I honestly think that's secondary to how bad our scheme was this year. I think you could have had Barry Sanders on the football team this year, and he wouldn't have done squat.
Well, I think what you see is we like to run zone more than we like to run gap with running backs. And what you will find style plays in which you just see man, hit man, go, you will have a lot more wide open truck style lanes to run through. When you do zone, you will watch a center have to go and barely get a hand on a linebacker on their hip, right? And so there's rarely any big holes in a zone style running scheme. So I think that Andy does need to adjust that a little bit and run more gap schemes. I think that would be a big improvement. But I think, again, to go to this, we've seen that Dameon Pierce can play in the NFL at a high level. If he plays over the last 3 weeks, let's see what he can do. If he's starting to chunk off big runs, then we know it's necessarily. Now maybe it's a talent problem. But if he comes in and he can't do it, then maybe you got to look and be like, maybe the scheme just kind of sucks a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
So, but I'm with you, but I think you have to draft a running back. I don't think you go out and you pay the running back big money. I don't know if we've got enough money to do that. But like he said, you do have to make cuts early. And we've talked about it. Tranquil's probably going to have to go. These guys either have to go or they got to restructure. Jawan Taylor, he's on there. You've got a few. So we've got to get it together.
Yeah. WG Agency here says that Andy disrespect is crazy. The quarterbacks he coached had their best years as passer under him. So, like, I don't think that calling out Andy for having a failure of a year and just being a dinosaur right now is disrespectful. I'm not taking anything away from what Andy's been able to do over his career. But I will say that Andy never won a ring without Pat, okay? And I'm sorry, that's just all there is to it. Like, Patrick made Andy more than Andy made Patrick. End of story. I think if Patrick went and played for Buffalo, he would have won Super Bowls there. If Patrick would have played in Cincinnati, he would have definitely won Super Bowls with that receiving core. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. He's up here, and everybody else, including Josh Allen and all them turds, are way down here. It's that huge of a gap. That's how good Patrick can be. But what you've seen over the last 2 years, and it come to a head this season, is how bad you can hamper such a good player with terrible coaching. And I'm sorry, Andy is responsible for that. So with all due respect for how great Andy is as a head coach, he has sucked ass for 2 years now. And this year especially. He's got to evolve a little bit.
Well, not to mention, Andy's run the same offensive style.
Yeah, he's run the same place for 5 years straight.
Look, he's done this his entire career. This is basically a West Coast offense, a little bit adapted. He's ran this all the way through his days in Philly. Look, Donovan McNabb didn't change that offense. It didn't change what Andy did and how he did it. He was a system quarterback within the offense. So, yes, he did have some of his best passing years. Michael Vick, same way. Go down the board. Yes, Patrick Mahomes changed Andy's offense. He adapted his offensive style to Patrick Mahomes, and he's allowed him, but they've got stale within it. So that's your difference. Patrick Mahomes was that generational QB that could change Andy's offense, and he did it. They found ways to incorporate the RPO and things like that, and they actually evolved that offense. But now they've evolved the offense, and they've slanted it towards tight end centric, his connection with Kelsey, get out, RPO. The league's going away from RPOs. Everybody's going to too high. You've got to figure out a way to get rid of this now. Numbers across the league are down on all quarterbacks over the past 5 years because we're setting into more of these too high shells. Go look at it. No quarterbacks are throwing for 5,000 yards anymore. It's just not there. You're not seeing it.
Right.
So everybody's got to adjust, and everybody's not adjusting, and that's all we're saying. It's not that Andy sucks. It's that Andy and Nagy and everybody underneath Andy does not push the limits. They've stopped evolving. They've yet to figure out the
too
shell.
Comfortable. They're
too comfortable, and they're because they've got Patrick Mahomes. They think he can just do it.
Yeah.
And you've got to fix that a little bit.
For sure. Shout out Dreaded TFG, becoming a member. Welcome to the crew, my man. Appreciate you. We got Lex Luthor in the house with the 5 bomb. Says the Chiefs' offense lacks discipline. We saw what happened when EB left. The Nagy experience needs to die like our 2025 season. Bring EB back. So my thing with Nagy, and it's always been that, is it's kind of a team effort there, right? Like Nagy is dragged down by Andy Reid as Andy Reid is dragged down by Nagy. Like they're too comfortable together. They've been together too much. There's no pushback. There's no fresh ideas. It's just stale and awful, and they need to part ways. End of story. I think it would be best for both of their careers to part ways. And then we talked about like different offensive coordinator possibilities. Would love to see them bring in someone from outside of the Andy Reid coaching tree. Would love to see some fresh blood come in. Like, obviously, like a Cliff Kingsbury would be great, and people love that idea, but the chances of that are probably slim, right? So I think if you stay within the realm of the Andy Reid coaching tree, I think you just bring EB back, and I think that's the best possible scenario. Don't you, Mike?
Oh,
like, I mean,
100%.
I would love to see them go outside and get someone different, but I don't know.
Yeah, look at the years before Nagy and look at the years after Nagy. And again, you could say, well, the too high shell started around the time of Nagy. So maybe that's been a little bit of a hindrance, but it's the adaptation of it. But I'm with you. If you stick within the Andy Reid coaching tree, I don't want Kafka. I don't want none of these guys. Like, go back and get EB. And I think that's where you go. No Doug Petersons. Let's just go get EB and see what he wants to do. If he'll come back, I don't know if he will. But something tells me if you bring him back as an OC, he probably likes that better than being a running backs coach. You're probably going to get paid a little more. Let's see what happens. And then the narrative gets shut down. If the offense still looks drab and whatever, then it's got to be like, look, Andy.
Right.
Like, he's just refusing to evolve here. And so I think this is the only way. Now, if EB comes back and we succeed, then you're like, maybe there was something to the EB Matt Nagy thing. I think you test the waters there if you can't go outside.
Well, I mean, if you go statistically, especially if you just look at Patrick Mahomes' stats, it absolutely coincides.
Yeah, 100%.
And there could be other factors there. I understand that. But, I mean, you have to think
Tyreek
Hill was traded away in 2021, between the 2021 and 22 season, correct?
Yeah,
so,
I think what you're seeing basically, though, is the end of the Tyreek Hill era in KC.
I don't know, though. I have something to rebut that because after Tyreek Hill was gone, there was 1 year where Eric Bieniemy was still the offensive coordinator without Tyreek Hill. And Patrick Mahomes threw for 5,250 yards and 41 touchdowns with a 105 passer rating for the season.
Yeah, he crushed.
So I don't know, dude. I think there could be something to that. And I've always kind of been on the fence about that and been like, well, I don't really think it's Nagy that much. I think it's more Andy Reid. But, I mean, I think the writing's on the wall there. I think there's definitely enough evidence to prove Nagy guilty in the court of law as sucking ass as an offensive coordinator.
But why I say it could be the end, it's not the end of the Chiefs dynasty, it's the end of the Tyreek Hill trade era, in my opinion. You've now exhausted all the draft picks. You've exhausted all of your players that you've gotten from that. Like, now they're starting to come up on their contract years out of their rookie stuff. I think this is also the time where you have to start to change the scheme and be like, look, trying to replicate Tyreek Hill is just not going to happen. Tyreek Hill was made because Tyreek Hill was just a freak athlete. If you're not finding that freak athlete with all that just lightning in a bottle, you're not finding it again. And you've passed some really good players trying to do that. You've passed up a DK Metcalf. You've passed up a George Pickens because you've tried to replicate the Tyreek Hill. Let's stop trying to replicate the Tyreek Hill thing. I think that era's done. All the draft picks from the trade are now exhausted or getting ready to either be signed or be gone. I think now we got to go forward and implement a new style of offense that is not a Tyreek Hill-centric-esque player style of offense.
Right. I agreed. We got a 5-bomb here from Monterey Woods. Says, if Mike McDaniel became available, would he be a great offensive coordinator? Thanks, guys, for all you do.
Would love Mike
appreciate
McDaniel.
You, man. Thanks for the love. We appreciate you watching and supporting. But, yeah, love Mike McDaniel. And I think that would be great, honestly, because – let's be honest here. Like, we've said we would never take Kyle Shanahan because he's a Shanahan. He's a Shanahan. We don't want him.
Yeah. Well, he's a disciple.
Okay.
Mike McDaniel, right?
Okay,
He's a disciple of Shanahan.
Keep that in your back pocket real quick. Now, if Kyle Shanahan had Patrick Mahomes, the San Francisco 49ers would have been the dynasty. They would have been the dynasty, not the Chiefs. 110%.
They could do it with Brock Purdy. They were doing it with Mahomes.
Exactly. So all I'm saying is I don't like Kyle Shanahan, but his scheme is not bad. Okay, so do you take the lesser of the evils there? You get the disciple. You get Mike McDaniel here. I think that's like the fresh ideas that you need, and that's also a guy that has a little bit of stature about him. I understand Matt Nagy had also been a head coach before, but he was under Andy Reid before he was a head coach. This is a guy from the outside coming in that's been a head coach in the league, was successful for a year or two before it kind of went off the rails there in Miami. But I honestly think Mike McDaniel would be fantastic to have.
He'd be great. He'd be great. I like him. Steve, I'll say this. Shanahan-style offenses, what do they focus on? Movement, tight end centric. George Kittle's
Yes,
played a pretty good one there. Getting the QB out
a
of the pocket.
fullback, Kyle
And a
Juszczyk.
fullback. That's your difference. I'm telling you, Andy's system changed when they got rid of that fullback, halfback position.
Yeah.
I don't know why they did it, whether they thought they couldn't find a good replacement or that was their adjustment. But if that was their adjustment going forward, I think they definitely miscalculated that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Also saw in the chat where somebody brought up Gruden. A lot of people want Gruden. I don't think Gruden would come in as an OC, and I think that's the only way he's going to be here. Mike, you said he might end up in Michigan, you think?
There's a link to Michigan as a head coach. I don't know if they'll do that. It looks bad for PR because, like I said, the Gruden, he went through an email scandal. I don't even remember what all that's about, but he did do it. So there's something about that. I don't know. He may not scoff at an OC position under Andy Reid to get back in the NFL. Well, like,
No, I mean, they're tight too, you know?
You got a lot worse places to go to if you wanted to come back in the coaching as to come back as a dynasty's offensive coordinator.
He spent some time with the
team
in camp 2 years ago.
Gruden likes to run a lot from under center. Gruden likes to run a lot of
Gruden's
old
more
school,
hard-nosed, yeah.
hard-nosed. Now, look, I like all that, but I don't know if Andy Reid's going to go for it.
Now,
And
they
would
would definitely butt heads.
Would you really want Patrick Mahomes to be in a grinded-out offensive system? Like, I get we don't like the RPO, and I get that we do need to have a better run game, but you want Patrick Mahomes to be the centric piece of the offense. You don't want him to hand the ball off 40 times a game, you know, unless it calls for it. Like, if you're playing a team that can't stop a run, then by all means do it. Tom Brady would have checked out of every pass and thrown the ball 6 times and ran the ball 50 if it meant to get the win. So you do what you do to get the win.
Right.
But it's just tough to take the ball in Mahomes' hands that much and just switch your whole identity.
Right. Well, you know, we've talked a lot about the offense, how bad it was, how stagnant it was, how bad the scheme is. There's a lot of things, a lot of intricacies in football, right? And it's really hard to narrow down the failure of the Chiefs this season to like one thing. Because, I mean, there are times where there's multiple things breaking down that are possible reasons for what's going on. And I think a prime example of the Chiefs season in a nutshell was yesterday when Patrick Mahomes got hurt, that play in general. First of all, everything, like we talked about how the Texans game, Mike, was a culmination of the whole season. Like everything that had happened throughout the season happened in the Texans game.
Yeah,
I think you could take it a step further. I think in that one play, you saw just everything at the same time. Because if you go back and look at that, that was a play action play. Okay. That's something that fans have been preaching for all year. We need more play action, right? Granted, if you don't establish a run game, it don't do you much good, but play action pass. Mahomes had an open receiver over the top with Xavier Worthy. He couldn't load up because the offensive line broke down. Pat had to scramble. Pat gets hurt. Like it all started with a bad play call. It started with Pat Mahomes not having time to even see the receiver that was open. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just so many things that go wrong all year long, and it all just kind of come to a head at one time, and that's how you went out. And that was a tough way to go out, Kansas City. I'm just telling you right now, Chiefs Kingdom, you know it. That was a bad way to go out by watching your franchise quarterback go down with ACL injury. It sucks. There's a lot to it, and I do think that this is all fixable. Remember that. First of all, for everybody that come in late, Patrick Mahomes, I fully expect him to be back by week 1. I think he will be your starting quarterback of 2026.
Yeah, he's going to have surgery today or tomorrow.
Pat is a hard worker. His work ethic's great. He's got a great team around him with Stroop and all those guys. Great staff at Kansas City. I think he'll be back. So I wouldn't worry too much about him missing significant time in 2026. Could it happen? Sure. But I think it's more leaning towards he'll probably be there. But everything that we've seen this year is fixable. There's nothing fixable. There's nothing about what I saw this season that made me think this team can't compete anymore. The dynasty's over. Like I never saw that all year. I saw a bunch of guys that you know had no hunger to win, and I saw a bunch of garbage, stale, outdated offense being called. You know, that's what I saw.
Yeah, I agree. It's fixable. I don't think Patrick Mahomes misses any time next year. I really don't. I think he's back throwing by June. Like, I really do. I think he's back throwing with the team. It'll be fine. It starts with the coaching staff. You've got to get this coaching staff fixed, and then we're 1 or 2 pieces away.
For sure. Lex with the 5 says Mike McDaniel's call sheet has 10 plays on it, and we don't need that. Not to mention players don't respect him. We don't need that. We need accountability. I don't know, man. I don't think Mike McDaniel is not respected. I do get what you're saying. He's more of like the Andy Reid type, where he's like more player friendly.
He's a player's coach.
So, but I mean, that's not always a bad thing. But you do have to have some accountability. But the accountability doesn't just start like that's one thing. Like everybody wants to say, "Oh, EB had accountability and Matt Nagy didn't." What does that even mean? Does like Matt Nagy or Eric Bieniemy control every coach on that staff? Because the accountability can come from a lot of places. So I mean, I don't know. And then of course the 10 plays on his call sheet. I don't know about that either. I'd have to really dig into it, but I do know he comes from the Shanahan offensive style, and that would definitely work in our system. I do know that.
I don't know this 10-play call sheet thing. Are we saying that if you watch a Miami Dolphin game all year, you just got the same 10 plays throughout the game?
So they effectively have the same Chiefs offense that we had? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to look into that. I'm not for sure what that means.
I'm not saying you're wrong, Lex.
No,
I'm just saying.
No, I've never heard of that one. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like he does a lot of things that Andy likes to do. That's why they went out and got Tyreek Hill. So I think it's similar enough that it works, but it's different enough that it could work.
Hey, and you know who likes Mike McDaniel? Devon Achane.
Yeah, maybe he follows him over.
Hey, we'll take the package deal, baby. Let's figure it out. The Tyreek will come back too. Why not?
They should have traded for Devon Achane this year.
Tyreek can get together with Mahomes and they can rehab together and get the old band back together, you know?
Get the band back. Tyreek's the bass player. Get it together.
Perry with the 2 bombs says Andy going to Texas for second opinion from Dr. Cooper. Okay. So you're saying Pat's getting a second opinion. We knew that was coming. That always happens.
Yeah.
Second opinion, that's standard. But yeah, man, I don't know what's going on with Pat. We don't have the full extent. I don't know if anybody said anything about it today. Mike, you can kind of look that up real quick. I don't think anyone's mentioned. Is it isolated ACL? That's the main thing I want to know.
Well, maybe that's what they're doing the second opinion. They're making sure everything's good. I think he's just, look, they're going and they're going to talk about surgical options. There's usually 1, 2, 3 guys that everybody in the NFL is going to trust. They're super specialists in this. They have groundbreaking techniques. They've got everything. He's probably going to talk to the doctor today, and by the end of the day, or more than likely tomorrow, so I'll say within 48 hours from now, he's having that surgery. That's the optimal time. You got to let the initial swelling get down just a little bit, so it's probably just going to be a lot of ice over the next few days, maybe some steroid shots, something like that. You got to get the swelling down. Then they're going to go in, they're going to do it, and it's going to be, what is today? Monday? By Wednesday, Patrick Mahomes is going to be operating it. That whole thing's going to be done. He's going to be starting rehab on Thursday. Friday, somewhere in that range. Agreed.
I think so, man. Pretty grim end of the season. I mean, there's still some football games to play. Creed Humphrey said it best. You still got to come to work, and you got 3 football games left. So get out there, do what you got to do. It sucks how this whole season's unfolded, but it is what it is. And like you said, Mike, kind of going along with what Creed said, there's still football to be played. You can still kind of evaluate some guys and see what we need to do going forward. But I think it absolutely starts at the top. I think this falls on Andy Reid, and I think that heat has to go straight to the offense because, I mean, let's be honest here. The defense had their troubles this year at times, but the defense overall was never the problem. They just weren't. It was the offense. And I think that's where you got to start. You got to clean house. You got to come with something fresh. We have to reset, and then you have to also go out and fill some holes in the talent, which you mentioned as well. You got to figure it out. This is where Brett Veach earns his paycheck. This is where Brett Veach gets called great all the time. This is we trust, in Veach we trust. Well, now's the time. I mean, he's got to figure out he's $40 million over the cap. We have a lot of holes to fill, and we're coming off the worst season that we've seen in a decade. So he's got his work cut out for him, dude. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I think it's a different perspective. As a Chiefs fan, I mean, I think we've all become accustomed to just winning every year, and I think that the team itself kind of fell into that trap this season as well, and I think that played a part into it. I mean, Mike, we had Chiefs fans not even coming back after the Super Bowl loss. We saw that just from a creator's perspective, we saw the fan base dwindle and not be interested just because they lost the Super Bowl. And I think that affected, that had its effects too. The support system's got to be there. And I think the players were just, got too comfortable, and it is what it is. I think this year I don't think any losing's ever necessarily needed, but I think this was definitely a big slice of humble pie for everybody, from fan base to the top of the Chiefs, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We said from the beginning you were going to have the league kind of crack down on the Chiefs.
And that was apparent.
They were going to lose all their 50-50 calls. They were going to just let teams beat them up. No call.
Brother, I'm sorry, and I'm not blaming the referees for the season, because it was not the referees that caused the season to suck, but they did not help.
Right.
They didn't help.
It was a factor.
Yeah.
Getting a little greedy with the Chiefs, throwing us on every major holiday, putting us on Thanksgiving, putting us on Christmas, opening in Brazil, you name it. This whole season just kind of felt off. It kind of felt a little weird. It didn't really allow the team get into any kind of a rhythm, in my opinion. I think that first trip to Brazil was an effect all the way up to almost the bye week. It felt weird. It felt off, and I think the league got what they want. They've officially put the Chiefs out of the playoffs. Yeah. Big deal. We're going to retool. We're going to come back. It's going to be fine. You're going to deal with this for another decade. Until Mahomes retires, you're dealing with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully expect the comeback to be huge, brother. I do.
The comeback is always greater than the setback.
That's what they say. Guys, appreciate y'all being here today. Thanks for hanging with us. Over 500, 600 of you all day long. Pretty good for a daytime live stream on a losing Monday. A very bad losing Monday. So
applaud yourselves. Hit that like button.
Applaud yourselves. Hit the like button for us. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We don't stop the content. We're going to keep going all throughout the rest of the season. The off season, we have the best draft coverage out there. Best Chiefs content, period. So hit that sub button if you haven't. Real quick, let's get to Montre with the 5 bomb. Says if the season ended today, we would have the 11th pick in the draft. Hopefully we can get a quality player to get back on track next year. This is where it also kind of falls on Veach too, right? Because now, you're the draft guru. You're the one that's the wizard that's always making the cap work, and you're getting this guy and you're getting that guy. That's always been his MO. There are no excuses this offseason. None. Like, you have to get it done. Like, it's a very dire situation for the Chiefs. How the dynasty goes forward, how the Chiefs organization goes forward with Patrick Mahomes, it all hinges on a lot of these offseason moves and the way they go about it. So appreciate the 5.
I want to stress, I don't want to make you feel sad or not take away your horns. I don't want to do that. But, I mean, who's to say that just because we're picking top 12, 15, whatever it may fall in, maybe even top 10, who's to say we get a better pick than we did last year? Josh Simmons was a dog. We hit on him.
Can I tell you what Brett Veach is going to do with that pick? I'll go ahead and say it right now.
I want you to tell me first, did we hit on Josh Simmons? Was he a dog? Yes. We filled a gap.
Yep.
Was Xavier Worthy a good pick? Absolutely. Should Ladd McConkey have maybe been the pick? You could argue that.
Yeah.
But there's not that many players that were better than like a Josh Simmons. We got him dead last, is what I'm trying to say. So you still got a big – matter of fact, your potential miss factor is way bigger in the top 10.
Yeah, it's true.
You got way more players on the board now. Yeah. So –
Well, let me get to what I was going to say. Mike, what's the biggest thing that sticks out to you when you look at the draft this year?
It's weak. I don't see a lot of good players.
I haven't got that far.
So far.
Just look at our picks. We are very low on picks.
Yeah, you're
to
low
what
on
Brett
picks.
Veach likes to have. What's the best way to remedy that?
You got to trade back.
Exactly. You guys are going to get real horned for a trade back.
Yeah, so we may end up with the bottom 20 pick anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, don't put it past Mr. Veach to trade back in this draft, guys.
That's how the New England Patriots kept their dynasty.
And drafting people like Cole Strange in the first round.
That was after the Brady dynasty.
Casey Lion Squad with the 5 bomb says the weirdness started in the offseason, not knowing when Rice will be suspended and Xavier Worthy's issue with his ex. I mean, this whole season was just cursed from top. I mean, right off the rip, dude. I mean, it would have been amazing if this team could have figured out a way to get in the playoffs and make another run. Let's be honest here. But sometimes, the magic runs out, and You got to have some downtime, dude. I mean, you cannot win a Super Bowl every year. You can't even play in the Super Bowl every year, and that's what the Chiefs have been doing. It's unreal. So, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Let's just hope that we got all of this out of our system and things can get back to a little bit of normalcy. But very excited to see what kind of moves Brett Veach makes and what kind of coaching staff moves that Andy Reid makes. It better be some. That's all I have to say. But yeah, once again, appreciate you guys for being here. Hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you haven't. You can become a member. You can go over to join.allchiefedup.com. You can become a member, just $5 a month, man. It helps the channel. You also get some perks there. We'll be doing a members only live stream in the next couple of weeks. Be giving away something. We've been giving away signed jerseys, signed footballs, all Chiefed Up merchandise and everything like that. Also, if you want to buy some all Chiefed Up merchandise, you can go to merch.allchiefedup.com and check that out. You can use the code Chiefsmas. You'll get 15% off the entire store, and that's going to end at the end of this year. So take advantage of that deal. I want to shout out Zarda and DraftKings for sponsoring today's stream. So you guys download DraftKings, use the promo code ACU, go over to Zarda, get yourself some food, let them know All Chiefed Up sent you. We got Chief Grief with the 5 bomb. So what I'm most nervous about is the potential of arrogance and stubbornness continue because they think this is all one-off bad luck. It's not. That is a giant concern. Like I said, Andy has to have some self-awareness here. End of story. Like our next season, our future going forward hinges on Andy having a little bit of self-awareness this offseason and knowing that he has to do something. And whether that comes from pressure from Clark and Brett and everybody else, something needs to happen. This team, this organization needs to make sure that some heads roll, some big changes happen, and we go forward with a solid plan, you know, and then we get Patrick Mahomes back healthy.
I agree. Good job, Steve.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. We'll see you guys next time. We're out of here. Go Chiefs.
Get wild.